All right. Good evening, everybody. Bobby Piton here. And it is day 94. Just like that. We're almost at the 100-day mark, folks. Just like that. Less than 1 week away from 100 days. It's almost like, when somebody becomes president, their first 100 days in office. We have our first 100 days of going through the Bible. So, I just want to say a quick hellos. Hello, Jules, Celicia, Caroline, Leanne, Lynn, Stud Puffin. You can't mess with the Stud Puffin. Sheila. What else we have? We have Mary, Cheryl, Sarah, Lilo. Almost. Where's Stitch? We got Lilo. We need Stitch. Mason, Dallas, Maria, TF, and Duncan Hines. We can't mess with Duncan Hines. We all need to eat some cake. And then Susan, and I think that's it. Donna, and so forth. So I hope I didn't miss anybody. Hoping in Christ is always good too. So, okay. So a couple things. Number one, I had a wonderful conversation with Edward Solomon, right? Ed Solomon, Edward Solomon. And I had a dream about calling him up, for some reason. For some of you who don't know about Edward Solomon, he's a mathematician out of New York who's been working on some stuff as well with regards to voter irregularities. And I've heard multiple times that I should talk to him over the past 5 months now. Yeah, I guess 6 months, right? I've heard about this in December. So it's been 6 months. Everybody's been telling me I need to talk to Edward Solomon because, maybe we might have something to talk about. And I said, you know what? I don't want to talk to Edward. I don't know what he's working on. And actually, I like that fact. And I've never watched or read anything that he's done. And, and I wanted to keep what my analysis separate from whatever he's doing. And so, I had a dream I should call him today or talk to him, try to reach out to him. And it turns out that some of the people that work alongside him or work with him, other mathematicians, they said they were talking about me yesterday with someone by the last name of Clements. I think Clements, another mathematician. I don't know if he was on the call, but that, they should, they wanted to try to get a hold of me. So it just so happens, it's weird timing, folks, that they decided they were going to try to get a hold of me. And then I just happened to go on YouTube, see if Edward Solomon is on YouTube, and he was live streaming. And so I just sent a couple messages, and next thing you know, we're talking. And we just got off the phone after over an hour. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I have no idea, what's going to happen. I do think that there's a decent amount of overlap as to what his work is versus my work. And I do think that there's some stuff that, we might be able to fill in the blanks for things that we're both seeing. I did think it was pretty cool that he also had dreams about different things back in November as well as December that were very vivid dreams. I told him I wish they recorded the conversation that him and I had because I think it would have been pretty cool to share that conversation with the world. So maybe next time we speak, even if we're not publicly live streaming it, I did say I think it would be pretty cool to record it and share it with everybody because he does have some. I really enjoyed the conversation, right? And I told him, I said we could probably talk about math for at least an hour a day, and I think he said it's pretty funny. I think I talk about it for 6 to 12 hours a day. So, anyways, I told him I don't have that kind of time to speak about math for 6 to 12 hours a day, but I do have some time that maybe we could speak about an hour here and there, and go through it and explain, what we're both seeing and using different principles and so forth to get this solved. So I'm really excited. What's the word? I'm pretty stoked about the possibilities. Look, even if we don't do anything with regards to the, with voter stuff, right? Let's just say that we don't come up with anything, which I doubt. I think it's very unlikely. I do think that we'll come up with something to use our respective skill sets to work on this problem. At a minimum, I'm going to get some damn good conversations out of it. So that's all I can say. And I did tell Edward, I said, I just had my son, my fifth child, on Sunday, and his name is Edmund, not Edward. So anyways, different spelling of Ed, but I just thought I'd point it out to him, and I let him know that he's E squared, Euler. I said I don't like to pronounce it Euler. And Isaac, which you got a kick out of that. So I told him E squared to the imaginary I times pi minus 1 is equal to 0. So it's a modified version of Euler's identity. And, at least he got the joke. So anyways, I did think that was pretty cool. So I'm happy that he can appreciate, Euler. Okay, with that being said, let's go to Deuteronomy 26. Sorry off on a little bit of a tangent. Who's on the background, dog? Who's on the background? I don't know what's going on, Southern Wind. What do you mean, who's on the... I don't know what you mean by who's on the background. Who's on the background? Somebody on the background? What's going on? I don't know what you're talking about. What does it mean, Farmhouse Mittens? I'm not sure what you mean. No. It's Edmond, not Ed. I said it's a different version of Ed. Some people might try to call him Ed, but he's not Ed, he's Edmond. Okay? I don't see a dog. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but we'll leave it at that. Nails on your wood floors. Sounds like nails on your wood. Yeah, that's my son typing in the background, folks. He's typing. He's on the computer. He's playing a video game right over here next to me, and he's just chipping away. They're asking, what the hell is that sound over there running? And so I said, that's what's going on, folks. That's him typing over there. He's very loud. He's playing a video game. Telling him he's going to have to move into a different room with the desk because he's very loud, and there's no doubt about that. So let's go into the harvest offering and tithes, okay? Yeah, he's not working hard. He's working hard playing video games, Ann. Don't you kid yourself. He's not working hard. He's working hard playing video games. Anyways, so let's go to, when you enter the land of the Lord, your God is given a special possession. And you have conquered it and settled there. Put some of the fresh produce from each crop into a basket and place it in a designated place, right? So once again, this is paying tribute to what you create. And, if you think about this in the context of life, I was talking to somebody today, and I don't want to say who it is unless they decide they want to chime in and mention it themselves. So feel free if you know who I'm talking about, if you want to post it, I'm more than happy to talk about you. But in general, I don't like to say somebody's name unless they're comfortable with me saying it. So anyways, with regards to tithing of time, tithing of ability, and let me just say, hi, Susan. Hi, David. Good to see you both. What I would say is tithing is a very interesting thing, right? Because it's hard to quantify, right? It's hard to quantify the benefits of tithing, right? You sit there and you're like, okay, I'm going to tithe because it's the right thing to do. You're going to tithe because you're requested to do so in the Bible. You're requested to do so, by your church or your synagogue if you're Jewish, or whatever your religious orientation is, right? Because this is the greatest book ever written. And it's the greatest book ever written for everybody, not just Christians and Jews. It's written for everybody. So if you're not Christian and you're not Jewish, this is still the greatest book ever written, and you should have a look at it, even if it doesn't fully conform to your faith. Is my 2 cents. Okay, so thinking about this whole idea of tithing, and when you do things and you tithe, let's talk this through logically. Okay? You give something And if you truly give of your time, of your energy, of your effort, without expecting anything in return, a funny thing seems to happen. I don't know why it is, um, but it but a funny thing seems to happen if you give expecting nothing back in return. Um, it seems to inspire other people. You know, that's an unintended consequence, right? It's an unintended consequence of tithing, because when you tithe, um, and others see that you're doing it for the right reasons, right? You don't want to just do it because you feel guilted into it, because you feel like you have to, anything like that. But if you do it because you're genuine and you're sincere and you're grateful, other people seem to take notice. And maybe this is God's way of returning the favor, right? For doing God's will. So I do think that tithing is very much, I'm going to put this down here from Jacob. I do believe that tithing is very much, uh, a way to communicate with God that you're paying attention to the message. So let's see what Jacob has to say. I had an aha moment. Tithing helps us identify with Jesus like this. It's all God's money. We do something for Him with it. We're acting in body and service, actively part of Him. So, to Jacob's point, what I would say that's a little bit different than what Jacob's saying. I think it's the same meaning, but just a different, maybe a different, slightly different interpretation. Is when you tithe to others, you're this concept that it's all God's money. That makes you feel like, from my perspective, when I hear that, it's kind of like you're guilted into it. I don't like to think of it as God's money. I kind of try to view it more as, it's from my perspective, it's more of a sign of gratitude. It's like, okay, God, you gave me these gifts, you gave me this ability, and I'm very appreciative you gave me these gifts, and I want to return the favor by sharing these gifts with other children of God, and I'm going to give it to other people around me that are your children, right? Because I'm their brothers, and I'm their brother, and they're my sister, and so forth, or like brothers as well as sisters, and as a result of looking at it that way, that you're like, okay, it's almost like doing a nice thing for your sibling. If you have you have a brother, you have a sister, and God's graced you with good fortune. How do you treat your siblings? Do you treat them maybe a little better that you've had good fortune, or do you treat them differently? And I think how you treat them is a reflection as to your view on tithing. You're not expected to share everything equally with your siblings, but I do think that if you make the effort and you share on some of your blessings, it is a way of kind of returning the favor for the acts of kindness that they might have given you when they were younger. Right? This is obviously complicated because there are some siblings that weren't so good to their younger siblings or older siblings. And so, it takes a really special person to still share their blessings with someone who was not very grateful or treated them very well as a child. And so, I do think that the two are connected. And so, anyways, tithing helps. Tithing, if you were to break it down into one word, from my perspective, it's connection. Tithing helps you connect and realize that your good fortune is also the good fortune of others among you, around you, that you care about and you share love for. And so I think that's the really big takeaway, that you're showing that you love your fellow human being, your fellow person in the community, your fellow family member, that, you know what, you don't have to do it, but you do it by free will and you choose to make a difference. And I do think that that's what makes it, such a big deal, and why when you do it for the right reasons, God rewards you for it. It does. You do have it paid forward and so forth. So, you know. Anyways, so let's go to the next piece, which is a call to obey the Lord's commandments. Tell the Lord your God has commanded you to obey these decrees. You have declared today that the Lord is your God. He will set you high above all nations. If you do what the Lord asks, He will set you high above all the other nations. You will be a nation that is holy, and the Lord will be as promised. Right. So once again, this whole concept that God does keep track of the score, and if you do the right thing, you will be rewarded for doing the right thing, even if you're not rewarded in real time. That this will come. Excuse me, folks. It will come to you later. So, anyways, I think I still need to get caught up on my sleep, folks. But I'll probably go to bed early today. But that's just something to think about. With regards to Deuteronomy 27, yeah, I do. I only had like 2 cups of coffee today, Maria. Should have had more, but I'm I'm getting tired. Yeah, I've had a busy day. It's been productive though, and I sometimes wonder, no, you guys aren't boring. I'm the one that's boring right now. I need to get fired up. I need a cup of coffee about a half hour before I go on. No, I'm pretty excited about everything that's taking place. I'm excited about Arizona. There's a big meeting tomorrow in Pennsylvania with the legislators. I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about my conversation. I'm going to speak with Edward tomorrow. I did say that we would try to touch base tomorrow. I have an interview with Gail, I think, from Arizona tomorrow. I think at 5 p.m. I got to double check, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then I have an interview, just so everybody knows, don't be mad at me, but I have an interview at 8 p.m. tomorrow with Ann Vandersteel. And I'm being told it seems as though, Colonel Waldron will be on that interview tomorrow. So at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to be on the interview. And so, it's pretty cool. Let me see here. And so I'm pretty excited about that interview with Colonel Waldron. Ann Vandersteel is going to lead a roundtable discussion. There might be one other surprise guest. I don't want to say who it is because we need to see if they show up. I don't want to say anything. Maybe they're gonna pull me out last minute. They're gonna replace me with somebody else. Maybe they'll replace me with little Frankie. I'm just saying. They might. What are you saying? Don't need no stinking stylist. There you go. I don't need no stinking stylist. George Bush Center for Intelligence. That is pretty funny. There's no such thing as George Bush for Intelligence. The guy's an idiot, and so there's nothing intelligent about that guy. How do you and other people do? These scumbags try to scare you. Boo Frankie. Who needs to get hammered here, folks? I don't know what's going on. I don't know. All I'm saying is, little Frankie. There's you guys ever see the movie? I know we're off on a tangent today, folks, but there's not this today isn't too much to talk about. So, we can talk about it. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. George Bush, what a joke! What a criminal! I'm not sure if you're just doing it just because you're bored. Naming yourself George Bush for Intelligence. How about George Bush needs intelligence, or George Bush the criminal. That actually might be better. George Bush for intelligence. How you gonna do it? You heard them all. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna go like this. I'm just gonna mix it up there. Anyways, and remember when somebody said I have wiry hair? I thought that was pretty funny, folks. No, we're not gonna cancel the Bible study tomorrow. Don't you worry, Miss Kitty Chris. We're going to move it to 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. tomorrow. I'm gonna do the interview with Ann. So if it runs over, please bear with me. But right afterwards, I will definitely do. I'll be prepared to do the Bible study afterwards. So tomorrow's day 95. We're not going to miss it. We're not going to change it. Might be a few minutes late, but the show must go on. That's all I can say. The show must go on. And so, anyways, let's go to the next point here. The altar on Mount Ebal. Then Moses and the leaders of Israel gave this charge to the people. Bag of pretzels almost ended W. This is the best. At least you got a sense of humor, buddy. It's amazing how much different the world would have been if that bag of pretzels did end that criminal's life, right? Oh boy, Bobby, who fed you soy? Come on, onward. Nobody fed me soy. I don't know if he's a great patriot, Cheryl. I hear you, Cheryl. Jury's out for me. Jury's out for me. Look, Cheryl, I will say, I'm keeping an open mind. Maybe it's just the Kathy, the super rhino Barnett that has corrupted little Frankie. But I will stand corrected. I'll be the first to admit it. If little Frankie is a patriot, and you are right, Cheryl, I will definitely tell everybody that I think he is a patriot. And I don't mind backtracking on my assumptions about somebody and based on my own experience of what I see. And I'll be the first to admit that I made a mistake. Because you know what? God forgives sinners. Oh boy. Are you saying I ate soy? I don't know if I had any soy. I'm not aware of being soy, having any soy this evening. But I will keep an open mind about Frankie. And I did talk to Edward, and I think they were reaching out to Frank, Dr. Frank, and they said, what are your thoughts about talking with Dr. Frank as well as with Edward? And I told him, I said, look, I'm not opposed to it. Even Ann Vandersteel, she brought up Dr. Frank. She goes, would you be okay being on a panel with Dr. Frank, and if you guys were to discuss something? And I said, look, Ann, if you ask me to be on your show, I will most definitely have the courtesy to behave myself. If I have any issues with somebody, I'm sure as heck not going to bring it on to your show if you ask us both to be there. It's just not going to happen. So, if I have something to talk about with Frank, Dr. Frank, I will talk to him offline or talk to him on a different show in which he knows, we're going to talk about some difficult things. And so I don't like blindsiding people. I want them to know if there's some things I'm going to talk about that might make them uncomfortable, and they can talk about things that might make me uncomfortable. But here's the rub, folks. There's not a whole lot that makes me uncomfortable. So I have some pretty thick skin, so it takes a lot. But I am willing to talk about those things with him. Okay, so let's go to Deuteronomy 27. Obey all these commands I'm giving you today. This is Moses and leaders of Israel gave the following charge. Oh boy, that was pretty funny. I do like this. This is pretty funny. Let me see here. When you cross the Jordan River and enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, set some large stones and coat them with plaster. Write the whole body of instruction on them when you cross the river and enter the Lord your God is giving you, a land flowing with milk and honey. Right? Then Moses and the Levitical priests addressed Israel as follows: O Israel, be quiet and listen. Today you have become the people of the Lord your God. So you must obey the Lord your God by keeping all these commands and decrees that I am giving you. Right? So let's think about this for a second. What exactly is the land of milk and honey? Land of milk and honey. Now keep in mind, has anybody ever had tea with milk and honey? Right? When I think about the land of milk and honey, um, you know, and hey, Uncle Downer, don't be such a downer. Hey, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong about Dr. Frank. I really don't know which it is. Right now, I'm just happen to saying one thing, right? But maybe his analysis and what he's doing is truly different. Maybe he's just been misled by the super rhino named Kathy Barnett. I'm hopeful that he's just been very misled by the super rhino called Kathy Barnett. That's easier for me to accept, and I hope that's what it is. So we'll see, sure enough. But anyways, going back to the land of milk and honey. When you think about tea, anybody who's had tea with milk, okay, milk is an absolutely wonderful thing, right? When you put it into tea. Now, I think it's called like an Irish tea. But now if you mix honey into tea, and especially if you heat the honey, so you heat the tea and put the honey into the tea, that it kind of blends it, almost like it's a drink. I agree, Sarah. It does mean contentment. And what I would say, Sarah, okay? Hold on a second. Let me get this here. Sarah, so milk and honey, if you've ever had milk and honey in tea, okay? If you've had any type of tea with milk, and then you've added some honey to it, I got to tell you, man, you sleep like a baby. You are just so passed out. It's unbelievable. It's one of the most enjoyable activities that you can ever have in your life is if you have milk and honey. I got to tell you, you better hope that this country's not drinking milk and honey in their tea, because if a foreign nation came in and tried to conquer us, we'd all be passed out. We'd all be laying on the couch having a wonderful time while we got conquered, because it's just unbelievable how much it totally. Oh boy, Amstock, no soy milk, Amstock. Come on, hey, look at this. Look at it. Look at the. Hold on a second. Where'd she go? I'm just saying that everybody's got a sense of humor now. Everybody has a sense of humor. Just saying that, Bobby, we really need to make sure that you have some soy milk with your honey. Boy, they really want me to fall asleep. That's pretty funny. Milk and honey hangovers are a bummer. Okay, so let's go to the curses from Mount Ebal. The same day Moses, who gave this charge to the people, when you cross the Jordan River, the tribes of Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin must stand on Mount Gerizim and proclaim a blessing over the people. And then the tribes of Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali must stand on Mount Ebal to proclaim a curse. Then the Levites will shout all the people of Israel. So folks, they kind of go through all these different curses. Like I'm just going to read a couple of them, which are interesting. Anyone who this is basically the 10 Commandments. Whoever dishonors thy father and thy mother will be cursed. Anyone who steals property will be cursed. Anyone who leads a blind person astray on the road will be cursed. If you deny justice, cursed. Now this is pretty interesting. Like, I mean, seriously, folks? Anybody who has sexual intercourse with an animal? Folks, these must be what the Democrats are all about, right? You know, some of the Democrats, the leadership in the Democratic Party, this might be an initiation ceremony for these people.
Did you say intercourse with an animal?
Oh, yeah, it's right here in the Bible, Ronan. My son just asked, did you just say sexual intercourse with an animal? And I'm sitting there thinking, this is what Ocasio is all about. She might be going down to Mexico. You hear about these crazy stories in Mexico. I think that was her initiation. Yes, I did say that, folks. She is a communist. Communists probably do anything they can to basically, turn their back on God, and it wouldn't put anything past Ocasio and any of these satanic people. They said they loved your reaction, brother. They're like, did you just say? And I'm like, I'm just reading the Bible here, folks. I'm just pointing out contestants that we see in everyday world. Okay, save the animals from Ocasio. I'm like, I'm pointing out the animals that Ocasio might do something bad with that's in the Bible. Look, folks, first of all, let me explain something. Okay? Middle East has that going on with this. Jesus. all I can tell you is, look, this is in the Bible for a reason, folks. There are some people in the past, as well as people that are alive today, that are in positions of power, that are this evil and this sick, that they would probably do anything for power. And so I agree, Sarah. We need to save the animals from Ocasio. I do think. Please look for my comments. Oh, boy. Okay, I got to take a look. Speaking of commies. So, anyways, folks, look, Ocasio is a sick person. All I'm saying is she's high up on the list of doing such a thing based on what the Bible is saying. That's all I was saying. I'm not saying she ever did it. I'm just saying if there's anybody who would ever do such a thing and commit such crimes and atrocities in U.S. society, it would be someone like her. That's all I said. So, don't shoot the messenger. We can move on from this. Okay, let's go to Luke 10. As Jesus and the disciples continued onto their way to Jerusalem, they came to a certain village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into their home. Okay? Okay, Lord, doesn't it seem unfair that, to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? And then, tell her to come here and help me out, right? And then, oh boy. Somebody just said that Ocasio, and she got her teeth. Maybe she's the product of something, right? There used to be these like half goats, half people, right? From years ago. I'm just saying. I have no idea. Maybe Ocasio is a demon, that's possessed from human as well as other form, But anyways, Jesus says, have her come over here. The Lord said to her sister, my dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There's only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her. Okay? So, what exactly did Mary discover that will not be taken away from her? So, it's interesting. So, her sister Martha was doing all these things, right? Trying to please the Lord, making a big meal, taking care of all these things. And meanwhile, Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet and listening to the good word, listening to the gospel, and learning what it is that she had to do. So now keep in mind, a meal can satisfy you, right, for one moment in time, right? You might have 2 or 3 meals per day. But actually hearing the truth and living the truth, the way Mary was doing, by listening to what Jesus was teaching, will last a lifetime. So a meal will not last a lifetime, but actually listening to the lessons of Christ, learning from what those lessons are and how they apply to your life, that's far more important than preparing or eating a meal. So, anyways, I do think that that's what's pretty interesting, is that that's why Jesus basically said Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her. There's only one thing being concerned about, and the fact that Mary was concerned about the right thing and didn't let what convention had said, that she felt obligated or necessary to prepare a meal. What she did instead is she listened to what Jesus' teachings were. So, anyways, I do think that's pretty cool from that perspective. So, let's go to Luke 11. Okay? Jesus was in a certain place praying, and when he finished, his disciples came to him and said, "Lord, teach us to pray, as John taught the disciples." Jesus said, "This is how you should pray. Father, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come soon. Give us each the food we need, and forgive us our sins, and forgive those who sin against us. And don't forget to yield to temptation." Then teaching them more about the prayer, he said, "Suppose you went to a friend's house at midnight, wanting to borrow 3 loaves of bread. You say to him, 'A friend of mine has arrived for a visit, and I have nothing for him to eat.' And suppose he calls you out from his bedroom. 'Don't bother me. The door is locked for the night, and my family is here in bed. I can't help you. But I tell you this, though he won't do it for friendship's sake, if you keep knocking long enough, he will get up and give you whatever you need because of your shameless persistence. And so I tell you, keep asking, and you will receive what you ask. Keep on seeking, okay? Keep on seeking, and you will find it. Keep on knocking, and the door will be opened. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and everyone who knocks, the door will be open. Your fathers, if your children ask for a fish, do not give him a snake instead. Or if they ask for an egg, don't give them a scorpion. So if sinful people know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give the Holy Spirit to those who ask it? And folks, there's a tremendous amount of truth to this. You don't ask, you don't get in this world. If you don't take the time to understand what makes people tick, it's a big problem. Who do I have to hammer, folks? Oh boy, I just saw somebody up here. God isn't real, says the douche. And the douche is gone. Okay? So anyways, yeah, he's gone, folks. The douche is gone. The Democrat the communist sympathizer among us is no longer with us. So they're gone. So that's a damn shame. I'm not sure how people have this kind of time on their hands. Have any of you ever gone into another chat? You don't have anything else to do. You're just going to kind of go in there and razz people. It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe they are a soy boy. Maybe that's what it is. Patrick, what did you say? I said what today? Let's hear this. I want to hear what Patrick had to say today. Patrick, what are you saying? Patrick, what were you saying? I didn't know what you were saying. So, see what he says. That's funny. Yeah, they're definitely the communists are the problem. Okay, so let's go to Psalm 76. Okay. God is honored in Judah His name is great in Israel. Jerusalem is where he lives. Mount Zion is his home, where he has broken the fiery arrows of the enemy, the shields and swords and weapons of war. You are glorious and more majestic than everlasting mountains. Our boldest enemies have been plundered. They lie before us and sleep of death. No warrior could lift a hand against us. In the blast of your breath, O God of Jacob, their horses and chariots lay still. No wonder you are greatly feared. Who can stand before you when your anger explodes? From heaven you sentence your enemies. The earth trembled and stood silent before you. You stand up to judge those who do evil, O God, to rescue the oppressed on earth. Human defiance only enhances your glory, for you use it as a weapon. Make vows to the Lord your God and keep them. Let everyone bring tribute to the awesome one, for he breaks the pride of princes, and the kings of the earth fear him. And so, I mean, for the most part, this psalm and a lot of psalms are just, once again, they're reiterating what's expected of us by our God. Hold on a second. What's going on here? Who's the fancy weasel? Did we get something else? We have another problem who showed up. Yeah, I'm not seeing who else is there. Who's the fancy weasel? That's a pretty funny name, though.
There's a fancy weasel.
There's a fancy weasel in here.
Makes him so fancy.
I don't know, but the fancy weasel's no longer with us. Fancy weasel is gone, folks. Okay, sorry, the little fancy weasel. It's a pretty funny name, though. If you're going to be a weasel, you might as well be fancy. Anyways, well, he's no longer with us, little fancy weasel. But just speaking in generality about Proverbs, a lot of the Proverbs are what? They're reiterating our role in obeying and in doing God's will. I have to say, this is just an observation, right? Before we get to Proverbs 12, and I kind of want to bring this out. We haven't really talked about it very much. Maybe I have brought it up before. But what does it mean to do God's will, right? This is the big question. What does it mean to do God's will? Okay. Now, I know this may sound a little weird, right? But I'm going to tell you, this is some stupid shit. Okay. Okay. It seems as though that guy's gone too. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. Okay. I can feel when people pray for me, right? I can feel the prayers. I know this sounds, oh boy, thank you, Sarah. Oh my gosh, I'm wearing a gray shirt. You're kind of sounding like my wife now, Sarah. Sarah, my wife is telling me she's tired of me wearing gray. Okay, she's tired of me. She's tired of me wearing gray. She's trying to get me to wear more color. I told her that I will try to go to the store to buy more gray shirts, actually more colored shirts. It is a card shirt. So, anyways, my wife would get a kick out of you, Sarah, for pointing it out. She wants to, you want to make sure, that I don't need a stinking stylist. Anyways, but anyways, Storm and everybody else, I do feel the prayers. It's not just saying. I'm not just saying it that I feel it. Um, um, Folks, I can feel it in my dreams. I can feel it in the middle of the night. Um, I could feel prayers coming into the back of my skull. Right? They usually come right here. It doesn't come to the front of my brain. The prayers come right here, and I can hear it. It's not exactly it's a pulsation. That's the way I would describe it. It's a pulsation that I receive, and when I receive the prayers, um, every time I receive them, I can feel they're coming in. Right? Sometimes they come in batches. It's almost like a batch. Like everybody seems to pray at the same time. I don't get them in way. Maybe there's more people praying on it at the same time, but I can sense when people are praying in groups. And when these prayers come to me, I extend gratitude. I ask God to send prayers. I don't have the same power as God by any means, but what I do ask is when I receive the prayers, I just say, God, I'd love to respond to each person individually and thank them for the prayers they're sending me. And since I can't do that, can you do it on my behalf? So I just asked God, and I said, can you send some blessings back to everybody who's sending me blessings, and send them from courtesy of me. So I basically asked God to return the favor when I can feel the prayers, and I just asked God to send you know. Gratitude prayers back, as well as goodwill toward people that are praying uh, on my behalf and my family's behalf. And I do believe I do believe that God does hear me. So I hope anybody who is praying for me um, can also feel me sending back prayers for your good fortune and your family's good fortune, because I do think uh, um, um, I do believe that I do believe everybody's prayers in not just not just in Bible class, but prayers from people that have been listening to some of my work. Um, I do believe they make a huge difference, and I do think they keep me and my family safe. So I'm extremely grateful for it, right? Because I don't want to take like you know some some people might be like, man, you're really brave. You're gonna get yourself killed or something. And it's like, don't think I'm naive and don't realize that I might get myself killed by some of the stuff that I'm doing. I'm trying. I'm trying to do it as best as I can. Uh, um, but I feel like we have to. Somebody has to step up, and frankly, when I say that somebody has to step up, I don't like to say that unless I'm willing to step up. And so that's the deal. If heaven forbid something happens to me, I will say a couple things. You guys can remember this date on May 25th. Is I've had a hell of a run. Like it's been, my life has been beyond blessed my entire existence here on Earth. Um, I've had you know, uh, an absolutely incredible run. There's nothing I would change. Um, I will say that uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Is that everything else is just a gift. Every day is a gift. I've had nothing but good fortune. Uh, you know, my entire life and so forth. And so, you know, to do the right thing, right, uh, is easy for me. Maybe it's easy for me because I feel so blessed. I don't know. Maybe it's easier to do the right thing when you've been blessed. Um, you know, that's kind of the way I feel about it. Is that you know um, you know. Anyways, it's just something to think about, folks. is the whole thing is fascinating to me. Every that that there's so much there's so many wonderful things that happen that you don't plan for and you don't expect. I think that's one of the nice things, right? Is when you don't expect something, you do the right thing, and you don't have any attachment to it. It's the best kind of surprise. It really is. When you don't expect anything, um, when you don't expect something for doing the right thing, and then something good comes as a result of doing the right thing, it's just such a wonderful experience. It's so much better than anticipating anything. So, is that the definition of happiness? I'm not sure. It sure does seem like it might have something to do with it. Um, um, you know, and so um, when you try to do what's right, and you don't really uh, you don't really care about the outcome of doing what's right. And what I mean by care, it's not that you don't want the right outcome to occur. It's that you don't have any attachment to it. You know that it's above your pay grade, right? That you don't get to call the shots. Um, uh, that when you do something that you think that by doing it, the right outcome will materialize, and it doesn't always, right? Sometimes there's a delay, and so you know, I do think that by doing that, you free yourself of any concern, any guilt, any worry, and then everything is nothing but upside. Um, you know. Anyways, for what it's worth. So let's go to Proverbs 12. So, fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to others. A fool is quick tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted. An honest witness tells the truth, a false witness tells lies. And so, you know, fools think their own way is right. So, what I would say is, as a rule of thumb, you know, when you um, when you're going through this world, sometimes what I try to do, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but I do think it's kind of interesting if other people do it. I know that I do it all the time. Um, I try not to have any expectation of what is right. Right. I try to. I do try to read what's right. I try to read the Bible, listen to examples of wisdom in the world, examples that you know, and so forth. And what does that mean to try to learn wisdom and read wisdom, and then not think what is right is yours? Is if you detach yourself from what is right and what is wrong, and instead take the advice of everybody else who's sharing their wisdom with you, you take the burden off of yourself, right? That's the key, you know. Um, uh, and you know, so what I would say is, you know, that um, when you don't when you don't have attachment to what is right, is my takeaway from this. You know, we don't own the concept of what is right. Nobody does. We just know it is. And I think that this is what this is saying, that we fools think their own way is right. It's not ours. It's never ours. Doing the right thing is never ours. It is just the universe's. It's God's. God is what is right. And when we listen to others, we listen to their wisdom of them observing and feeling and seeing what is right, right? That's the key. A fool is quick-tempered, but you can stay calm. Now, keep in mind, quick temper, right? People that lose their temper, um, that's part of the human condition, folks. We all lose our temper on something, except my wife. My wife is the only one that I don't really see lose her temper. I've been with her 4 years, and I think, Ronan, what do you think? Have you ever seen Ma lose her temper?
No, she never raises
Yeah, she doesn't raise her voice. Folks, I got to tell you, I can be a little aggravating. You guys haven't really seen that side of me, but I can really piss people off. I'm really good at finding the little nudge. I know exactly what to do to kind of take that little that little piece of corn and put it right in your underneath your tooth or something where you got a problem with it, or you need some floss. You can't have the floss get into that part of the tooth, or just kind of nick at something, just the right way to piss you off. Okay, and all I can tell you is that you know I'm really good at that. I'm not proud of it, but it is something that I've been able to cultivate over the years. And so I'm not sure where I picked it up, but I'm telling you all this because when I'm quick tempered, I am very foolish. I'm very short sighted. I do think it's a mistake. I know it's a mistake when I'm doing it. Sometimes I know I'm doing it. I know I'm being quick tempered, and I know I'm being very unhealthy. Right? It's not good for me. It's not good for the other person. It could damage my relationship. I think it could damage my reputation at times, and I still do it. Right? That's the thing that's crazy. I have my temper at times on certain issues and certain things that really agitate me. Some things are very what's the word? They strike at what my value and belief system is, and so I justify it by saying that's not I justify my reaction to how I feel about the value that I'm defending, and what this is basically saying is it's a fool. I'm foolish when I do that. And I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with the Bible more. When I do that, I am being foolish. And I do pray to stop doing it, right? And we all need to observe. That's funny. It is the Polish in me. I agree with you. I do try to stop doing it. I feel like an ass, okay? Because sometimes I do it to my wife, who's never raised her voice at me about anything I've ever done wrong. And sometimes I raise my voice at her, and I get aggravated, and I get frustrated, I get quick-tempered. I can be a hard ass, and I was a hard ass to her sometimes when she was pregnant. So here I am, right? I'm doing this Bible thing. I'm going through it every night, and then I still fall short, right? It doesn't make me feel so damn good, like what the heck, I'm doing this. Can't you help me out a little bit and change some of these shitty behaviors that I have? Anyways, I feel real bad about it because what the hell? What the hell is going on? It's like, how much worse would it be if I didn't do this? That's what I'm sitting there thinking. I'm like, sometimes when I'm such a jerk, about something, or I'm short tempered, and I'm getting aggravated over nothing, right? That's the thing. That's what's so ironic about it. It's over something that is so trivial, and I still lose my temper over something so trivial. It just reminds me that how much more I have to grow, right? And then I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell? I'm 45 years old. What's taking me so damn long? I think you think you're smart, right? You think you're smart, but then you can't control yourself with regards to being quick tempered. And so it is aggravating, folks. But it makes it very clear here in Proverbs 12. A wise person stays calm. When I get aggravated or insulted, and I guess you can say I still have some wising up to do because I'm still not there yet, and this is just yet again another reminder of how much more I need to improve. So an honest witness tells the truth. A false witness tells lies, right? Boy, does that sound like Congress or what? Like, they're all false witnesses. They all seem to lie. They all seem to do stuff. And so, you know, it is pretty sad, right? You know, because people that speak the truth in our world right now, they seem to be vilified. They seem to be attacked. They seem to be made fun of, right? It sounds like Christianity, that we're constantly being under attack by a lot of evil forces. They're trying to not have us worship God or give, basically respect God. They want us to worship government. They want us to worship them. And, anyways, that's what I think that's all about. Some of my husband's lack of emotion keeps me calm. He doesn't fire me up, so I'm kind of feel dumb for getting all worked up. See, Laura, it's funny you say that because my wife, sometimes I get a little aggravated, okay? I'm not going to kid you. Sometimes I get aggravated by my wife not getting aggravated and showing how aggravated she is by expressing her emotions, if that makes any sense. My wife never ever gets upset in a way that shows me that she's upset as she is. And so maybe I just don't have the right cues sometimes. That it makes me feel like, how the hell do you, how can you stay so calm? You must, maybe I'm just not aggravating you enough, Anyways, it is pretty wild, to say the least. But I'm glad that your husband can keep his emotions calm, and maybe you and I, Laura, both have something to learn. Maybe we need to figure out how to keep our emotions a little calmer. We can all call them big feelings. There you go. I like that. We can all call them big feelings and so forth. It's passive aggressive behavior. So, maybe it's something we just learned. Oh, boy. Shoot first, ask questions later. Thanks, Dave. I do sometimes have that, like that. Rona, do you think I shoot first and ask questions later?
Yeah.
My son just agrees with you, Dave. He said that I sometimes do shoot first and ask questions later. For what it's worth. Let me see here. So, anyways, that being said, folks, let's go to St. Michael's Prayer. And I'm going to probably go to bed a little early today. I got a busy day tomorrow. So I just want to say, God bless you. God bless your family and your friends. May God continue to bless the greatest nation in the history of the world. I just have to do it, folks. I have to do it because she did this to me. There you go. Ask little Frankie. I mean, come on. I'm trying to stay positive here, Maria. You're like killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. I'm trying to be positive, but little, just slight correction here, by the way, Maria. You're supposed to just say little with a small L. Little Frankie. Little. Not with the big L. He's little with a little L. Anyways, but I just want to say, let's do St. Michael's Prayer. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who wander through the world for the ruin of souls. And so, folks, I think little Frankie might be able to make a fortune off of his shirts if he just called himself Little Frankie. Remember Little Debbie's? Right? The Little Debbie snack cakes? It'd be Little Frankie. Little Frankies. Anyways, that's what we call them. Little Frankies. Little Frankies. Anyways, there you go. That's a little better. It's Little Frankie, just with the small L. It's much better. Anyways, that looks better with the little L than the big L. Yeah, Little Debbie. Yeah, Little Debbie. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, I just want to say I love you all. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I just want to end by saying, may peace be with you. And if for some reason you don't have peace, uh, see if you can get some information from Kathy Barnett and have little Frankie work on it for you, and then have Frankie present it to the world as his. And then you'll feel a tremendous amount of peace. Just saying. Just saying. Anyways, who knows? Maybe little Frankie's on to something. But you know who might be able to help me figure this out? No, all joking aside, you know who I'm hoping is going to help me figure this out? Is I'm going to see if Edward Solomon becomes friends with me. I have a feeling we'll be pretty friends. We'll be good friends over time. Just have a feeling, even if it wasn't this damn election stuff. If we had a talk about math all the time, I do have a feeling that we would probably become pretty good friends. So what I would say is I'm going to say, hey, you know what? You're a mathematical guy. I'm gonna show you all the evidence. I want you to run your own damn odds, and I want you to tell me what the odds are that this guy came up with this shit on his own. So at the end of the day, if Edward Solomon says, you know what, Bobby, I looked at it, I looked at the odds, and you know what? He's way off base. He must have lifted your stuff, okay? Or he says, Bobby, you know what? I looked at it, and you know what? It was well within the realm of possibilities. It was a damn coin flip. What the hell are you so worked up about a coin flip for? And you know what? I can live with that. If all I could tell you is that I will gladly, move on and never talk about little Frankie again. So, anyways, what is this? Too late for a hammer? Who am I got a hammering at, Adam? Hey, can I spam? Who is this? Come on. Is that necessary? Okay, you're gone, little DJ Wolfie. Wolfie is gone. So anyways, little Wolfie's gone, Dallas. Thank you. And so that's the deal. But I will ask, I do respect, after one conversation and hearing the way Edward Solomon thinks, I do think it will be a very enjoyable potential collaboration here. We'll see if we work well together. And I will gladly share insights with him and see if he can take it to another level. And then, from that, we'll see. I'd love to hear his thoughts about little Frankie. And if he sees my point of view, little Frankie will continue to be called little Frankie till the end of his days by Bobby. But in terms of if he sees little Frankie's side, then I will go back to calling him Dr. Frankie. How's that? I'll call him Dr. Frankie. But anyways, at the end of the day, who the hell cares what I think anyways? That's what's so funny about this whole situation. Why would little Frankie even think about what I have to say about little Frankie? He can call me Big Bobby, right? He can call me Big Bobby. I gotta lose a couple pounds. And if he called me Big Bobby, hey Bobby, you gotta lose some pounds. Like what the hell do I care? Why should he care? Why should I be mad or care about what he has to say about me? I could definitely, I could definitely stand to lose a couple pounds. I wouldn't get upset about the facts. So maybe he shouldn't get about the facts if he is little Frankie. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and God bless. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. The offensive, yeah, they probably are generated by bots. That's all right. We'll move on. So, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Oh, 9 o'clock tomorrow, everybody. 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay.